That's correct, and I'm ready to record when you're ready.
We'll give it another minute, so it's actually 8:30. I don't want to get in trouble for starting early. Since we had to make us. Yeah, but we had to make us. There we go, 8:30. Okay. We do have a quorum, so I will call the special meeting to order at 8:30 a.m. On the regular agenda, you can see it's consider approval of resolution 2020-N010 establishing time and location for the regular meetings of the Board of Directors, Exhibit 1-Resolution 2020-N010. If everyone remember, this came about at the last meeting when we were trying to move the meetings up from 9 to 8:30, and we were informed by council that we couldn't do that because it wasn't an agenda item. So got together with Brandy and with Councilor Joe Graffita and figured out a way where we could adjust our meeting dates and times as we see it necessary. So Joe, if you want to go over that and kind of explain how you did that, please, sir.
Yeah, and Brandy, do you have any other? There we go. Okay. What I did is I took the resolution as the resolution reflected the language in the bylaws, which stated we needed to meet at least quarterly. So what we had in there is that we needed to meet at least quarterly on the Wednesday preceding the fourth Thursday of the month, and had a specific time, 8:30. Well, now this one says 8:30. What I added was, unless determined otherwise by the Board of Directors, we will meet at least quarterly on the Wednesday preceding the fourth Thursday of the month at 8:30. So the language I have in there right now allows the Board of Directors to essentially change that time. We could do that by discussing the time of the next meeting at the end of our meetings on each of our agendas. That's option one. One of the other things is we could even change that instead of saying unless otherwise determined by the Board of Directors, we could say unless otherwise determined by the chairman of the board. That way we don't have to discuss it at every meeting, and if it needs to be a last minute change, provided that such change meets the posting requirements for the open meetings, the chair could change the time. So those are kind of two options on the floor right now.
I like the chair being able to change the time. That way we don't have to bring this back every time, and and it allows the opportunity for us to be a little more flexible should that be the case and needed.
Agreed.
And that is the simplest way, I guess. My only concern with that is if I change it, would it be convenient and acceptable to the rest of the board members? In other words, would other board members have a conflict that I wouldn't know about?
You can always go earlier. You just can't go later.
Dean, one of the things you can do is if we need to change it, let's say because, for whatever reason, we've changed them already this past year because, the DCTA board met on a different date. So we wanted to make our meeting either after that or before, like for the budget. You can always have Brandy reach out to the board members just to see if that new time that you're going to change it to would be okay to ensure that we would have a quorum.
Great. That works for me. That was my only concern. So if we can do that, I have no problem with doing that. Okay. Is that all right with everyone?
Yes. Yes.
We need a motion on that?
Yes, it does say time and location. I'm assuming the location is not applicable. Or is that just the wording that we have to have? Because on the actual agenda it says consider resolution 2020-N010 establish time and location.
We already have the bylaws require us to establish the time and location by resolution. We already have the location established. Right. But again, having this language in here, if for whatever reason we need to change the location, that will give the chair the ability to do that also.
Oh, great. Okay, thank you.
Yep. So if you want to approve this resolution 2020-N010 as presented, accept the change of instead of it being determined by the Board of Directors, it will be determined by the chairman of the board, then we can approve it that way.
I move approval of the resolution.
With the change?
Yes.
Okay.
With the change stating that the chair has the opportunity to propose the different time and what was said about Brandy could poll the members.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none opposed, motion carries. With that, there is no other items on the agenda, so I'd entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting.
So move.
Second.
We have a
Can we-
motion and a second. We have a motion and a second to adjourn. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Hearing no one opposed, motion carries. Okay, now we're going to convene into our regular scheduled session. Wednesday, November 11th at 8:30 a.m. We'll call it to order. Public comment is the first thing. This agenda item provides an opportunity for citizens to address the board of directors on any agenda items or other matters relating to NTMC. Each speaker will be given a total of 3 minutes to address any items. Anyone wishing to speak shall be courteous and cordial. Any person who wishes to address the board of directors regarding any item may do so by utilizing the raised hand function on the Zoom meeting at this time. Citizens that are not able to connect to the Zoom meeting must email his or her public comment to bpedron@ntmc.com no later than 3 p.m. on Tuesday, November the 10th, 2020, to ensure the comment will be read. The board of directors is not permitted to take action on the subject raised by a speaker during citizen comments. However, the board of directors may have the item placed on a future agenda for action, refer the item to the NGC officers for further study or action, briefly state existing NTMC policy, or provide a brief statement of factual information in response to the inquiry. Randy, do we have anyone submit anything or anyone raising their hand?
No, sir, there are none.
Okay, I'll give it anyone have anything? Still don't see anything, is that right, Randy?
That's correct. No hands are raised.
Okay, then we'll move on to consent agenda. Consent agenda 1A is approval of minutes from October 21, 2020 board meeting. I'm assuming everyone did receive the packets and receive the minutes to the meeting. Does anybody have any questions or comments or additions to the meeting?
No.
Move to approve.
Have a motion to approve.
Second.
And I have a second. I have a motion to approve and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed, please say aye. Hearing none opposed, motion passes. Now we'll go to item 2, the regular agenda. 2A is general manager report from Hendrickson Transportation Group. We'll turn that over to RJ Garza.
Good morning, board members.
Good morning, Mr. Garza.
Morning.
I'd like to begin with a special recognition, if I may. We recently selected, we have dispatcher positions available. We have actually one more vacancy. But we recently selected an internal applicant for the dispatch position. And I wanted to recognize one of our very own employees who is well qualified. It's Randy Button. And he was hired originally as an operator, a non-CDL operator who began in March of this year, early this year. And I believe after the pandemic occurred, he was offered a service attendant, or he applied for a service attendant position and served us well in that position. Nevertheless, he is now our dispatcher. He's been a dispatcher since October last month. And I also like to thank the lead dispatchers, Brenda and Anthony, who have assisted in training him and bringing him up to speed with not only dispatching fixed route, but also access. So We're now under the new reorganizational plan that the dispatchers will be cross-trained in access and fixed route. And Randy is actually one of the first to be cross-trained. So very proud of Randy and the team, the operations team as well, for assisting him. And it's necessary for his continued success with the organization. And I want to thank Randy for accepting the challenge. I don't know if he's listening right now, but he may not be listening right now, but I will post this slide on here at the operations and at Louisville and the other facilities, so everyone can see the recognition.
Congratulations, Randy.
That is great.
Yeah.
Thank you. And in your packet, I believe you have the bi-weekly report that I've submitted. I just want to briefly go over a few things. Basically, as I mentioned, the reorganizational plan is now 100% complete. It's off to a very good start. We have a very strong management team, and I'm continuing to train them and help them, assist them in their daily tasks, daily functions, as well as Louise Francois, who's now our assistant general manager, and she's been assisting me with 3 particular departments. So together, we've been working very aggressively in helping and assisting the management team so they can assist the rest of the staff. And it's been working very well as planned. Everything's as planned. I'm very pleased with their current outcome of that reorganization plan. Also, recently we had a run bid this past Sunday, and on the run bid selection, it was just for the season of our UNT has decreased service from November 29th through January the 9th. And so during that period, we decided to go ahead and have a rebid and have the operators route. I just want to point out that I just want to make sure everybody understands that the bidding process it's quite complex, and it's like that everywhere, but it's necessary to do, and it's very important. We typically will do probably about 3 run bids a year, maybe 4. But and then we're going to in November the 22nd, we're going to have another run bid for the next spring semester, which the service will increase, and then we'll bring in all our operators back to rebid. So also, I just want to point out that the bids are and the schedules, the route schedules, all that is prepared by DCTA staff. We retrieve or we receive those the routes and the runs bids from them, and then we go through the process of doing the bid. So I just want to make sure everybody understands that NTMC, we don't prepare the routes. We don't do any planning of that sort. We receive it from DCTA, and then we implement what they provide us. Okay. So from this past bid on the 8th, or during that period from November 29th through January the 9th, because of the decrease in service from UNT, it's necessary to furlough 11 employees. So the way we did it was we had volunteers that and we received 11 volunteers. So it worked out very well. So of the people of the operators that we are going to keep are about 70 employees. And so, but a couple of those, or at least 3, requested leave of without pay, and I went ahead and approved that. So we will be in a good shape as far as employees during that time. So I did approve that. A lot of the bids during that time are typically just slightly over 32 hours. It's not a full-time, I mean, there are full-time positions, but they're 32 hours up to about 36 hours. Some of the runs are 40 hours, but mostly access type of service. I just wanted to point that out. Then we'll bring in January, the run bids will be slightly higher. There will be some offered at 32, but most of them will be up at close to 40. As I mentioned, we do have a couple of vacancies. We have a shop foreman vacancy. It's been a little tough to fill that position. I am going to interview someone this week. I hope to receive a few more candidates. Also, recently hired 1 mechanic, and we still have 1 vacancy available. And also 1 vacancy as a service attendant. In the joint meeting in your packet on page 9, we typically have the DCTA and NTMC joint management meeting to discuss just to exchange discussions regarding upcoming events, reports required, safety measures, bus operations, the fleet, staffing, and any future impacts. Basically, just wanted to point out that, you know, it's a real good meeting that we have. It's necessary to understand some of the things that DCTA will have and share with us, and make sure that all our processes are in place and meet the standards of DCTA. There will be a fleet auction sometime I believe at the end of the year or before the year end. The assets, when I'm speaking about the assets, or particularly about the bus fleet, typically they're, you know, the older fleet that's here on property, those have already been transferred over to the DCTA. We're going to be working with the assets that are available for us to use for all our services that we have. And we should have sufficient amount of buses for that service. We are anxiously waiting for the new 9 RBOCs that have been ordered or was awarded recently. So we are anxiously waiting for those new units. We are struggling with some of the units that we currently have. They're older, but that's typically occurs in any agency when you have older fleet. Let's see what else. Basically, been having all our meetings with staff regularly now, with weekly, as I mentioned earlier. And as far as ridership, just to give you, I know you received the ridership for the last 2 years. I just wanted to point out a couple of things. And September and October of this year were relatively the same in ridership as far as fixed route service. Recently, this last week, I took a look at just a week's numbers of November in comparison to October during the same week of last month, and I took out the Denton service from the UNT service, and it's a little interesting. I mean, it's not like we're looking at high numbers or anything, but Denton was there was a 1.1% increase in Denton service, which is I thought it was pretty amazing, because I was expecting more students or UNT service to increase, whereas the UNT service decreased by 7.5%, and that's just a week. So at the end of the month, or next month, I'll try to give you another update on that. But I thought that was pretty interesting. I just want to make a note. I'm gonna be out of the office on November the 16th through the 20th. I will have my laptop and have my cell phone available if necessary. Louise will be in charge of the operations during that time, and the following week she'll be out during Thanksgiving, and I'll be here. So I just wanted to let you all know that. Any questions?
Anyone have any questions, Mr. Garza?
No, thank you.
No, thanks for
Thank
the
you.
support.
Thank you, Mr. Garza. We appreciate that greatly. And I want to back up just a second. I apologize. I intended on starting this meeting with a thank you to veterans. And I want to thank all of you veterans who have graciously served our country over the years. We pray that you're able to have a wonderfully blessed day, and we will never forget you, and we always thank you. And if maybe NTMC can send a memo, staff can send a memo out to all the employees today, just thanking veterans, because we're not sure who is and who isn't, but we thank all veterans who have served our country. We appreciate that greatly. And I also want to say, if you could maybe, Mr. Garza, if you could maybe send out a little email to Randy to tell him how grateful the board is and appreciative of the board is for his hard work and dedication to NTMC. We'd appreciate that.
Sure will. Thank you.
Okay, next item is regular general item B, is to discuss and consider next board meeting date and time. On that, I did talk with the vice chair of DCTA, Mr. Gilmore, and he informed me that they are planning on having a joint DCTA NTMC meeting on December the 9th, which is our scheduled meeting date. I don't know the time of that yet. I know that DCTA's meeting is tomorrow, and I'm sure they will determine that time tomorrow at their meeting. So with that, I would like to see if we could all go ahead and plan to attend that meeting, joint meeting next week with DCTA. We'll have to get more information from them tomorrow, but like Joe referenced earlier, we could have Brandy send out the memo to everyone and make sure everyone could attend it.
Okay.
Anybody have any questions on that or anything?
I do, Chair Euchert. I think this is kind of new information to the NTMC officers. So we will confirm that with the board tomorrow. We did speak about that a couple weeks ago at the last DCTA board meeting. And from the guidance we received from the board was to wait till probably the first of the year. But we will confirm that. And they also had a change in leadership on the board too. So I'm not sure which vice chair you spoke with, but we'll talk with them tomorrow during the meeting. So thank you.
Absolutely. I was contacted by member Gilmore, TJ Gilmore, and I believe he had been in contact with the new chairman of DCTA. Like you said, they had some change, and I believe Mr. Chris Watts is now, former mayor Chris Watts is now the chairman of the board. And I believe they had the discussion.
Okay, I'm sure we'll talk about it tomorrow. Thank you.
Absolutely. I wanted to make that available, and that's the reason I asked for that information, so I could make it available to all the NTMC board members so they
Yeah,
could.
it's good to have that just so I can pencil it in if nothing else.
Exactly. If they need to make changes, I'm sure they'll let us know, as Christine just said, but I wanted to kind of give everybody a heads up on that.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions or comments on that? And I think at that time, there'll be some discussions during that meeting when we do that. There'll be some discussions on how DCA plans to move forward with bus service. So we'll get some good information on that, I think. Anything else on that? And Joe, we're okay with that. It basically, that's our regular meeting date. We're okay at making the time at whatever we need to make based on the resolution we passed in the earlier meeting, correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely not a problem.
Okay, great. Okay, next item is item number 3, future agenda items. On this agenda, we were going to initially have a discussion or a closed session meeting with our labor attorney on the CBA contract. And because Vice Chair Hayes was unable to attend today, we wanted to push that off to December. We'll see exactly how that meeting ends up turning out on the joint meeting with DCTA or not, and see if we want to continue to meet with the labor attorney in our December meeting or what. So we'll kind of put that on hold, but that may be something we put on our next agenda item. Does anybody else have anything they particularly want to put on?
This is Sarah.
Yes, ma'am.
And this is really particularly for I think decisions that'll be made through DCTA, but I think if I can get these out there, this would help us. I know there's a lot of uncertainty. So if we could get maybe from someone a timeline for some of the big decisions that are going to have to be made. And I say that from everything from one, which is what you mentioned, Dean, the joint meeting, which is important, but everything from like the bus versus demand service and the board approval of on-demand proposal, the public involvement on any service changes. I have a list of things of things, and then I actually got a question this morning from one of our council members. I would be happy to put this in an email and send it. It's just about 8 or 9 questions, you know, like the outsourcing and negotiation in the intent of negotiation for the CBA, all those kinds of things. And I'm assuming, and again, I don't want to assume it, but I'm assuming that a lot of that will be discussed when we do a joint meeting maybe, but it would be helpful to have that timeline so we kind of know when things are going to be coming up for discussion.
I think that would be great. If you could, would it be possible for you to send that email to Brandy today?
Yeah.
So that she can present that also to the DCTA board at their meeting tomorrow, so that they can see the questions that we have, which hopefully they can address some of those at our joint meeting.
Absolutely. I'll put it together here when we get off right before my next meeting, and I'll send it out. And then the council member Davis that had the question he raised, Brandy or Raymond, who should I send that to?
Send it to Brandy, and
Okay.
make sure we get that on the agenda. I had an inbound request from the mayor of Denton to, as part of this discussion of agenda items, to try to give a quick update. I was going to ask Nicole to do that regarding the transformation initiative and because we need to put those on the agenda for the next board meeting. For that, as well as the work that's being done around these big decisions around operations. So we can't get into discussion, but what I was going to ask Nicole to do as a board member was just to talk about putting those items on the agenda, if that's okay.
That'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. And we will be able to, now that we are in the home stretch of the transformation initiative, those priorities that you were talking about will come out of the December 10th DCTA board meeting. So we want to make sure that we're keeping the NTMC board apprised. So we'll have a transformation initiative update. And then we'll also have an update on the bus operations and maintenance contracting options. Tomorrow, the DCTA board is going to consider authorizing the CEO to sign a letter of intent with Trinity Metro in order for DCTA and Trinity Metro to explore various options, whether that's through contracting and ILA or use of NTMC in order to provide joint operations and maintenance services. So we'll definitely want to have that item on the next NTMC board agenda as well in order to give the NTMC board an update on progress.
Super. I'll send these out. I'll copy you, Nicole, as well, and I'll do it here this morning.
Sure. And just on the note on the CBA negotiations, I did speak with the labor attorney, and we do have, she has penciled in the December board meeting should the NTMC board decide that that is something that they would like to see on the agenda. So we have secured Jennifer Sweeney for that purpose.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Yeah, I think we'll know more on that after the DCTA board meeting tomorrow. If we can go ahead and speak with her at that time, then we can let them, that attorney, know. Any other items that someone would like to discuss about putting on the next agenda, the next board meeting?
I just want to thank y'all for moving the meeting to 8:30 so I can actually be there the whole time.
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's imperative that you be there. I appreciate your input, and I want to make sure that we're able to do that for everyone. So if we do need to make changes, please, anyone, just speak up, let us know. We'll make sure we accommodate because we want everyone's input on there. So
thank you.
We appreciate it. Okay, hearing nothing else, we have next item is convene executive session. Does anybody have anything that they want to convene executive session that was on the agenda today? Brandy, did we have anything, or Joe, did we have anything for executive session?
No, sir, we do not.
Hearing nothing from anyone, then we will not have an executive session. And next item on the agenda is to adjourn. Anyone have anything else before we adjourn? Any other thing else they'd like to mention or comment about?
No, just again, thank all the veterans. I think that's for their service and their commitment to our country. I think that's so important, and the sacrifices they've made and their families have made.
Amen. And again, I apologize. I didn't do that to begin with. I had that on there and then just skipped right over it.
Well, you got it though.
All right. With that, I thank everyone. And once again, do thank our veterans. And we thank everyone for attending. We appreciate everyone's hard work during these times. We know sometimes it's a little inconvenient, but I think you're doing a good job. If you will be sure and pass that on to all the NTMC team members, we'd greatly appreciate that they know, so that they know how much the board appreciates the work that they're doing. Mr. Groffitter, we appreciate you working on this and getting this resolution done for us too.
Thank you.
With that, entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Yes, happy Thanksgiving. Thank everyone. God bless. Bye-bye.
Thank you all. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.